Chainsaws, weekly checks. Got your continuous process maintaining your chain in a sharp, usable condition with the correct tension, and maintaining your guide bar. Do that every day or more than once a day. Your chain should not get into a state like the chain on this saw, which you can see is miles off the bar, and it's got resins and sawdust cooked on it, and all the way along the bottom of the bar there are burrs. So this has been forced to cut when completely blunt. You see it's actually damaged, and this is badly damaged. This angle is completely wrong, that angle is reasonable, that angle is wrong, so this is more than likely going to cut in a curve. And a saw like this 441 is used for larger felling as well as cross-cutting, and if you're felling larger trees there's more potential to get seriously injured if your felling goes wrong, and your felling is more likely to go wrong if your cuts are incorrectly placed. The other part of the weekly checks is the daily checks, so air filter. Also check this, check the operation of the chain brake, do your running checks as on the daily checks video. And also just remind you of the daily checks for the filter. You should be doing this every day, not weekly. So this one is completely chock-a-block with material. You can see it's come out here. Just keep knocking it, not on one side or the other side, but both together on a clean, hard surface until you stop knocking stuff out, and that will then be usable. If you look through it, you should be able to see some kind of daylight. If you're in the yard, you can use this machine over here, and you can use that to blow off your saw, pointing it away from you and pointing it into this corner here, and this works like this. Beware, there is no guard on the end of this, and you can ask Nick where he keeps this, because he doesn't keep it up there with the tire inflator because it goes walkies. So you do not point it at anyone, you point it away from you at all times, wear eye protection, and preferably wear a respirator. Now the other important weekly checks are here. You have this spring here and this rubber under here. You've got a rubber here and a rubber here. These are your anti-vibration mounts. There's one up here. This one on the top sometimes works loose. Check that they're there and working. And the other thing, which you won't have been taught on the course, but this is a design fault on these saws. Oh look, we've got an issue here. This E-clip is partially displaced. Don't know why that's happened, but you can obviously think that's going to fly off. So put the chain brake on, and normally you'd use one of these, a tuning screwdriver, to displace this, and then one of these, larger screwdriver, to remove, like that. Try not to lose it like I've just done. Chain brake off, and then you check this bearing. You can see this is all nice and shiny. Clean it, lubricate it, and put it back in. There's a video on the site called Grease Your Clutch Bearing. If you don't do that, you'll end up with it looking like this. Turn this round and you can see in here bearing surface has started to spool away, That will damage the bearing and eventually damage your crank, and this is due to lack of lubrication. So you need a little bit of grease on this bearing. Put it back in place, reassemble, and that's weekly checks done. Do those every week, not forgetting your daily checks and your continuous maintenance of your bar and your chain. Thank you very much.